Okay, Vijay, start recording.
Yes, Praveen, I record.
So I'll start sharing the screen. Okay, so basically what we discussed until now, in the beginning, the first session we discussed about the Gologa chart, the entire cosmic manifestation from a very high level view. Then actually we discussed about we started discussing about Jambudeep. So last two sessions we were discussing about Jambudeep. So yesterday we saw in detail about the different varshas, the divisions within Jambudeep, right? And then we saw that were the different presiding deities, etc., in the different varshas. So and yesterday we started discussing about the planetary system. I mean the different planets, like orbit of the planets, starting with Sun. Okay, so we'll continue from there where we left yesterday. Okay, so we yesterday we briefly saw this video, right? We saw a couple of videos. One actually we saw how the pole star, right? The pole star actually, which is the beginning of the temporary manifestation, which is destroyed every night of Brahma. So pole star below those planetary system, the entire thing, the pole star is like a hub of the chandelier, and when the along with pole star, the entire luminaries which are above the Bhumandala, everything is rotating along with the pole star in a clockwise. So when you're looking from a top, it looks, it's a clockwise rotation direction it is moving. So entire planets and stars are rotating. Then actually we saw the sun chariot. The sun's chariot actually, it is having only one wheel, which the axle is connected to Mount Meru, and then another what do you call it, diagonal hub actually is going to the pole star, and then the sun is actually rotating around on top of the Manasotra mountain, which is in the Pushkara Dib, right, and above a particular height actually, some 60,000 yojanas above from the Bhumandala, it is rotating. Um, at a speed actually is mentioned, right? Yesterday we saw the speed. What is the speed? Sun God has a speed. Yeah, I think it is not mentioned here actually. So, but yesterday we saw that. So basically, the speed is such that the sun will complete one revolution around the Earth, uh, in one day, right? So every 6 hours. So there are four quarters on top of the Manasutra mountain, which actually we saw, right? At residence of different demigods. So each quarter it covers in 6 hours. So like that, four quarters it covers in 24 hours. So and then we saw that there are many living entities also in the chariot. So the sun chariot itself is can be considered as a sun planet. We saw the dimension of the sun chariot, which is very huge, right? So the carriage of sun chariot is 36 lakhs yojanas long and 9 lakh yojanas wide. So that is the size. So on this chariot, actually, it is driven by the six horses, and Aruna Dev actually is riding the chariot. Okay, and yeah, so then this sun god is situated about 40,000 yojanas above the wheel. So total height is 1 lakh yojanas from the Bhumandala. So this much actually we have seen yesterday. So now next actually what we can see is that okay, we can just briefly look at moon, and then after that we will look on about talk about how day and night is occurring. Okay, with respect to this model. So moon is actually, according to Vedic scriptures, Bhagavatam and other scriptures, moon is actually situated much higher than the sun. According to modern science, no, moon is very near, but according to Vedic cosmology, it is 1 lakh yojanas above sun is the moon. But moon actually has a shorter orbit compared to sun. The sun's, for example, the radius of the orbit, if you take, or the yeah, if you take actually sun's orbit, moon's orbit is much smaller. So that is how actually it is described. Uh, yeah, so total height from Earth is 2 lakh yojanas. And then it talks about the different nakshatras. So actually, Vedic cosmology talks about 28 nakshatras, in detail. And there are more nakshatras actually, but no, these are mainly mentioned. the constellation 28 in number, starting with Abhijit, are being inspired by the Lord to move in a clockwise direction around the Mount Meru on the wheel of time at a distance of 3 lakh yojanas above the moon. So, like that it is. So, above 1 lakh is sun, and further 1 lakh yojana is the moon, and above moon actually is further 3 lakh yojanas is the this thing. So, total height of the stars is 5 lakh yojanas according to this calculation. So before we move further, no, we have to see some concepts. So we will look into the different planets which are there after some time. So now coming back to here, see, one of the concepts we have to understand is that okay, so how there's a, see, as yesterday we discussed, right? So basically the relative motion we have to understand. So it is mentioned that the entire pole star, along with all the stars and other luminaries, they are all rotating in the clockwise direction. Okay, so this is the actual motion is in the clockwise direction. So we saw that the sun completes one complete rotation in revolution in 1 day, right? So what is happening is that see, basically the entire zodiac actually is situated, no, is actually projected to a plane. So if you are looking from the top, we can consider that no, it will look like a disc only, right? So ignoring the different heights of the different planets, if you ignore, but if you project all the planets, or if you're looking from top, you know, we can imagine that they are all in a plane. Okay, so that actually is known as the zodiac wheel, where actually different stars, constellations are there. We call it rashis, no, and then moon and other planets are there, like different planets. So everything is rotating in the clockwise direction. Okay, so now the analogy how to understand the relative motion is that, so one of the example given is like so in Bhagavatam it talks about a potter's wheel. A potter actually, I don't know, some of you might have seen the potter's wheel, right? See, the potter actually he manufactures these earthen pots, and then he will have a wheel which he rotates. So if you consider such a wheel, and no, if you see, imagine that there are some ants which are walking on the potter's wheel. Okay, so and let's say the different ants are walking in different speeds. Then actually, as the wheel rotates, no, it gives an impression that the ants are sometimes are moving backwards. So similarly, another example is given is that no, this football ground is given, right? So if you imagine the picture, like they're shown a like round circular football ground where actually different people are running. Okay, so after each rotation, like so different children are, I mean, different boys are running in different speeds. Okay, so after one rotation, yeah, 1 second, let me try to, yeah. So see, in the beginning, everybody is in this in the same point, but after one rotation, we can see that the boy three is, you know, little behind. Okay, then further after two rounds, you know, the first boy three is still behind, and boy two is also little behind. Okay, so then after few rounds, after 10 rounds, actually, it may appear that no, they are boy one and boy three is at the same level, because the number of rounds completed is less actually. The boy one has completed more rounds, maybe one round extra, something like that. So this way, if you look at actually, you know, when different things are moving different speed, then an apparent motion would, it appears that, you know, everybody can be is moving the opposite direction. Okay, with the different speeds. So actually in this constellation, we can see that this way, if you look at, no, the sun will complete an apparent motion in the opposite direction in 1 year. It takes 1 year to complete one complete no, revolution in the opposite direction. So the normal speed of the sun is that every day it completes one rotation around the earth, but actually in the apparent motion, the sun will complete retrograde or opposite motion in 1 year. Okay, so that is how this movement of sun in the opposite direction is actually the basis for like astrology. Sun, not only sun, actually every planet, all moon also, you know, will actually move in the opposite direction, the constellation, because of the different stars are moving in a different speed. Okay, so this actually motion. So when the sun passes through the different constellation, then actually we say, you know, that different effects of the planets are coming. You know, so it is told that, you know, sun will pass through. There are 27 nakshatras, I think, constellation. So it'll take in every month it will pass 2.25 of the rashi of each rashi. Something like that is mentioned. So basically from, but we are not going into astrology now. We just want to get an idea what are the two kind of motions actually. The one is the real motion and one is the apparent motion in the opposite direction. The real motion is, you know, actually the clockwise motion, and the apparent motion is in the opposite direction. Okay, so we will, when we see some video now, I think some clarity will be there. We'll just have some look on the videos. Okay. which is the one. Okay, so let us see this video. Second video, 1643.
The day and night is happening. Here and we see little more close approximation to the things that are actually happening.
Okay, so are you able to see the screen and audio also? Rishna?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
So here actually you can see the different, it will show when it completes different circles, how the motion, relative motion happens. Okay, so here actually you can see the different rashis are shown and different nakshatras in the inner circle. I think is it clear? Yeah, so let us see. So now outside actually is this is the sun and the moon. See, the earth is in the middle. The inside orbit is the moon's orbit and the outside one is the sun. The two circles which are shown. Okay, so let us see.
At 0th round, the time wheel, sun and moon are together. After one round, sun is behind by 1 degree approximately, the moon is behind by 13 degrees approximately. After 2 rounds, 2 and 26, after round 3 and 26, 3 and 36, 39. After 30 rounds, sun and moon came together. This particular phenomena is called as Amavasya. As and when moon comes in front of the sun, that particular phenomena is Amavasya, new moon day. After 2 months, after 3 months, after 6 months, after 9 months, after 1 year of sun, the moon had made 13 reverse revolutions and 1/3 extra. But with respect to sun, the moon had made 12 reverse revolutions and 1/3 extra. That actually indicates in 1 year there are 12 lunar months and 10 days additionally. As they proceed further for 2 more years, there is 20 days extra. As they proceed for 3 more years, there is 30 days extra. That indicates in every 3 years there is one additional lunar month. As we see everything in the table.
Yeah, so basically this just gives an quick overview of how the relative motions of the planet are. Okay, 1752. Yeah. So is it clear actually how the relative motion is? Any questions on that?
Prabhuji, isn't the moon far away? The sun is closer, no? You said 1,000 yojanas, then 1,000, then 5,000 for the
Yes.
stars. Then,
Yeah.
but this
So
picture is showing different, no? You're
no,
showing the
this
moon
we are looking
and
from the
then
top,
the.
Mataji. No, so basically, see this picture is when you are looking from the top. Okay. So as I told you now, we are actually trying to project everything into one plane. So this is for this purpose of relative motion, we just project all the different planets. So when we are looking from top, actually see you will just see the planets are there, right? So the relative height we cannot immediately understand. So from when you look from the Bhumandala, actually that height is what is mentioned. So from Bhumandala, sun is actually nearest, okay, in one orbit. Then 1 lakh yojanas and above another 1 lakh yojana is actually moon. But actually moon's orbit is shorter actually. The orbit of the moon, the diameter of the orbit of the moon is shorter, but the
Okay.
sun's orbit is wider. So that is why it has appears like in this way. So moon is inside and sun is outside.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so then I think we can go on. Okay, the next actually we have to see about day and night, how day and night is happening. Okay, so this video will talk about that.
How day and night are forming as per Srimad Bhagavatam. Here, and this is the overall description of Jambudvipa, in which Bharatavarsha is there, in which
Yeah, so here actually it is little interesting to see, this is the relative location, how they are representing the Bharatavarsha. So on the bottom side, on the left side, you can see that Earth actually is represented. Maybe I think little more I'll increase the clip. Is it clear now? So yeah, so this is how actually relatively it's shown. So from the orientation perspective, so we saw, right. So in the middle actually is the Jambu Deep, and on the bottom side actually is the Earth. Okay. So from the direction perspective, the east, the right side actually this is east, and this is west, this is north, and this is south. That's how actually we, from an Earth perspective, we consider the directions. And no, they say that the true north actually is the upward direction is the true north. But actually, for our study, we actually consider from the Earth's perspective, this is the east direction. Okay.
the 9th division is known as Bharatkhanda, the Earth globe. With respect to Jambudvipa, the directions mentioned in the beginning of this canto Bhagavatam are east in the right hand side, west in the left hand side, north in the back side, front is in the front, south is in the front side. But in reality, the true north is in the upper side, true south is in the bottom side. Here in the north and south are only directions which are mentioned so that the geography can be explained. Here and we can see further. South is basically the direction which is during the midday.
So this picture, I think you have to be clear actually. So before we start, how the day and night things is explained. So we have to just understand the right perspective. So here actually, so this we are seeing the in the beginning, you remember the whatever circle picture we saw. So the Mount Meru is there, and then in the bottom side actually is the Bharatavarsha, right? So how actually, so in this globe you can see there's a green patch which is they're showing India, and on the right side is the east, right? We know, right? No, for example, Assam, etc. Assam is coming on the east side. On the west side is Gujarat, and the south actually is we have like Karnataka, Kerala, etc. And north actually is Delhi. So this is actually the perspective we are looking at. Now they will tell actually how the sun is rising. For example, when we know that sunrise in the east and it sets in the west. So the sunrise is first observed, for example, in the northeastern part actually. For example, Assam first experience sunrise, and then gradually the sunrise experience in the other part of the India, like towards the middle, for example, Madhya Pradesh. Now and then little later actually towards Mumbai, for example. So because the shape of the earth, right? And so that's what actually we are going to see now down. Okay, so let us see what happens now.
Sun, and the north is the direction during the midnight sun is there.
1 second. Just I would like to do a small thing. I'll stop the video. Okay. Yeah, sorry for that. We'll continue.
This is the entire Bhumandala consisting of 7 islands. Manasutra mountain surrounded by Manasutra mountain, the orbit of the sun. On top of this Manasutra mountain, in 4 directions there are 4 townships. In the east there is the Devadani, the residence of Indra. Sun is said to be moving in his chariot starting from Devadani as he proceeds further to the south to the township of Yamaraj, that is known as Samamani. Further he proceeds to the township of Varuna in the west, Nimlochini. Then he proceeds to the township of Soma, Vibhavari in the north. Then eventually comes back to the township of Indra in the east, Devadani. Thus, the time required for the sun to proceed from the township of Indra to Yama to Varuna to Soma to again to Indra, that is considered to be one complete day. This happens every day in the clockwise direction. Sun continues to move from east to west. Here, for all the future references, we take the top view of Earth globe, in which the India is located the bottom side, that is southern side as per the Jambudvipa description. Here and we see as in the Earth globe, as that India is located in the southern side. When sun is in the eastern side, that will be sunrise for India. And for Africa it will be midnight. For America it is sunset. For Japan it is midday.
So till now, is it clear? Actually, it's clear to you, right? Any questions are there? So how the sun? So when the sun is on the extreme here and this point, no, actually this the face of the earth which actually faces the sun, actually there is day, and the opposite side it is night. Now here also same thing. No, it is shown actually. So now the sun is actually bottom. So now the India, the phase which is considered to be India and Asia, etc., will be experiencing midnight. So right directly above whichever this place is, no, on board the equator, it will be midday, and the opposite diametrical opposite place it will be midnight. So this is in principle it is same as the scientific concept also, but only thing is that difference is that the earth is rotating according to the modern science, but here actually sun is rotating. But otherwise the principle of how day and night operating is actually there is no difference.
Prabhuji, the previous slide previous video you shown, right? The motion between this thing, moon and sun, right? So I confused here, Prabhuji, how to understand this thing. The previous slide actually talking about the moon and the sun movement, right?
That is actually, see, that now, so this is now we are only talking about the day and night, right? The previous slide was actually showing how the year is happening, 1 year. So throughout the year, if you look, the moon actually, see, now this is the real motion of the sun which we are talking about, right? We discussed that there are two motions. One is the real motion, one is the apparent motion. Apparent motion is the relative motion of sun, moon, etc., with the rest of the zodiac. So the whatever we saw earlier is the apparent motion of the sun and moon, and then what we saw is 1 year period actually quickly. In 1 year, how the sun and moon is moving. Now we are just talking about every day how sun is moving. Or maybe I think we will have to go into more detail actually. The videos you can see later, or we can discuss it.
Okay, bro.
Maybe, yeah. So that part that we'll see little more actually. The relative motions we'll see further. Okay. So now just focus on the day-night part.
So Harikrishna Prabhu, here the Earth's what you call rotating is not considered, but even in the Vedic sense, Earth rotates, right? I mean, it doesn't.
No. According to Vedic thing, no, Earth is not rotating actually.
Rotating in just two words. I forgot rotate or revolution. What on its own axis? What is that called?
It is not there, Prabhu. See, according to Vedic version, Earth is stationary. It doesn't have rotation or revolution. Nothing. Both of them, it is not there.
Oh, okay.
So only sun is moving. So that's what we are trying to explain. See, if the Earth, even when the Earth is stationary, how can we explain day and night according to the Vedic understanding? That's what we are talking now. So Earth is fixed in that position. Like Earth actually. So for example, this map we saw, right? So Earth is facing towards the bottom direction. I mean, it's India, Bharatvarsha, right? That's what we saw in the map. So in this picture also, you should consider that the bottom place actually of the globe is India is actually in the down part. Okay. So that is fixed. That India is always fixed there, and only the sun is rotating around this thing. That's what I actually we are explaining.
But has there any studies been done, or like because now people can access or view Earth from the a little bit outer space, right? So there they see, is it illusion that the Earth is moving then? Any studies concluding that?
No, see, for every topic you take, there are a lot of different schools of thought actually. So there are different groups actually which are saying that the Earth is flat. All that kind of groups are also there in the scientific community also. I mean, whether you call real scientific or not, I don't know. So there is a group of different organizations which still argues that. So many of these paradigms can be explained. No, in both we had talked about the geocentric and heliocentric models, right? Either of the models actually can explain the phenomena. So people are saying that. No, I was reading today that they are saying that the picture of the globe Earth, which is taken from so-called sent by NASA, etc. No, they are saying that it is not the real picture. No, they actually take different photographs and stitch, and then they show it like a globe. So this is actually, if we discuss that, we will not be able to complete the discussion. So it's a controversial topic.
Oh.
Yeah. So that actually somebody is interested. I'll send you the links actually about the different arguments, what is true or not. So according to Vedic principles, this thing they are able to explain in this model.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So let us try to understand.
It will be noon in India, and it is sunrise in the Africa. It is midnight in America. It is sunset in Japan. After 6 more hours, it is sunset in India, noon in Africa, sunrise in America, and midnight.
So see, actually here we are talking about one rotation. The sun started on the east side, okay, and then in first 6 hours it will reach the bottom. Now it has reached on the point which is there, right? So each time, so now we can see that whichever people who are staying on this side of the globe, they are experiencing midnight. And in India, for example, the sun actually is already started setting. Okay, so because the light is gradually going away, so as it moves, the light gradually this part becomes more and more dark. So that's how actually it is explained.
Night in Japan. After 6 hours, it is midnight in India, sunset in Africa, midday in America, and sunrise in Japan. After 6 hours, it will be sunrise again in India, midnight in Africa, sunset in America, and midday in Japan. Thus, throughout the Earth globe, we experience day and night at different time intervals. Here we see as sun is situated in the east in the township of Indra. As per the modern understanding, the Earth globe revolves around itself and around sun. So this is how the day and night are explained as per the modern science. But as per the Bhagavatam, the Earth is stationary, the sun continues to move in circular fashion. Thus, we have day and night happening throughout the Earth globe in a particular observatory fashion.
So this is another view of the same thing. In the bottom part, actually, they are showing from from the side, actually, from side of the Earth. The top picture till now always we are seeing from the top. This is the top view, and here the bottom portion is actually how you look from the side, actually.
Here we see the zodiac wheel is moving, along with it is taking the sun. Thus, eventually, we experience day and night all over the Earth globe, place after place. Thus, it is one complete day, which helps us to understand how day and night is happening throughout the Earth globe. Then, how months and years are happening.
So is that clear actually till now, day night part?
Prabhuji, I have a doubt, Prabhuji.
Yeah, who is that? Who is this?
Prabhuji, I am Revati Mataji's son.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji, tell me.
Prabhuji, in this they said that Earth is not moving, only sun is moving around the Earth, na Mataji. Prabhuji.
Yes.
So
yes.
is it the same for every other planets, Prabhuji?
Means, can you elaborate actually?
Like Prabhuji, they said that Earth is not moving, only sun is moving around the Earth,
Yes.
which makes day and night. Is it the
Yeah.
same for other planets, like for Moon, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and all?
So your question is that whether these planets are rotating on their own orbits. I mean, on their
Yes,
axis. Huh?
Prabhuji. Or the sun is also moving with them itself, like
Sun is moving
revolving
along
them.
with all the planets move along with the sun, like Jupiter, Saturn, etc. They are all moving along with the sun.
Okay, Mother, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Thanks, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Any other questions for the day night?
So here the sun, it is said that the sun is moving, and then when it is focused on one side, we have the daylight. So it's because the other side, but we can now talked about the movement of the moon, right? So you talked about the movement of the moon. It is also moving. So then when it moves away from the position, how is that? Is it that always that the other side of the Earth, which is not having sun, always gets the moon that coordinated in such a way that even though the moon is moving, basically, I wanted to simply put: is there a sync between the movement of the sun and the moon?
Yeah, so that actually we can see here actually in this picture. See, you can see the sun here, the moon in the middle, and the earth actually. Where we can have a look at that.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
Sun and moon are moving along with the time wheel. The moon is gradually going behind. Sun is also gradually going behind, but very little speed. After completion of one round, we see the sun is behind by 1 degree and the moon is behind.
So actually, this is to explain the the waning and waxing of the moon. So when from the observed from the Earth, we see that the moon size changes, right, from full moon to new moon. Basically, so that is what is explained. So because the moon, one portion of the moon, see the entire moon actually. See in this case actually, only one part of the moon actually is illuminated, right? So from when look from the Earth, we can only see a small portion of the moon illuminated. So so as it progresses, at one point of time when it becomes the opposite side, the moon is fully illuminated, which is we'll see that. So this picture is for understanding the
behind by
phases of the moon.
13 degrees with respect to time wheel. And they are allowed to move as it is. We can see here they are moving continuously but with slow speed compared to time wheel. This is how they continue. After one round of the time wheel, they are behind by 1 degree and 13 degrees respectively. And then after two rounds, they will be behind by 2 degrees and 26 degrees respectively. Thus we see the moon moving from Ashwini to Bharani and then Bharani to Kritika, etc., etc. Like every.
Okay, bro.
See,
This is clear.
Yeah, the calculations are all little complicated actually. So we'll not go into that. Okay, even I'm not an expert, but actually they're saying that after every rotation, sun goes backwards 1 degree. So that is the relative motion of the sun. See, like that, when 360 times it rotates, actually 1 year is completed. Okay, so moon actually is 13 degree. Each rotation 13 degree moon goes backwards. So that is a relative motion actually, right? So based on that, like if you go to the details of calculation, we can actually find out how exactly that. For example, it talks about Adhigamas, right? How one more month is coming every 3 year, one extra month will come. All those things are explained actually, but I think that is we are not going into those depth. Okay, so we just understand the day night, the phases of the moon.
Day moves from one nakshatra to other nakshatra. Thus,
eclipses also
the sun and moon, along with the time wheel.
Eclipses are also mentioned. Is it?
Yeah, we'll talk. Eclipse will come, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you.
They move in clockwise direction as per our day-to-day observations. But with respect to time wheel, the sun and moon are said to be moving in the counterclockwise direction. This counterclockwise direction motion helps us to understand the relative motion of the planets in the time wheel. That is the basis for making the Panchanga and the birth charts, etc.
Okay, so let us come back where we left. So we have seen that the sun's orbit day and night, sun and moon moving backwards. So the phases of the moon actually we see I think 2405. Okay, it is explained later. 24. Yeah, the phases of moon here it is explained in little more detail. 2405.
Is changing its phases over a lunar month. As we see from the top, every day the moon goes behind by sun by 12 degrees. In the very first day, by the sun, this part of the moon is bright and this part of the moon is dark. From the earth globe, we will be seeing the portion of the moon which is within the orbital circle of the moon. After 1 or 2 days, as moon proceeds behind by 12 degrees or 24 degrees, there is a small portion which is brightened by sun and which will be seen by earth. Thus, every day we will see the 12th degree of the moon.
So this is the concept actually of the waning and waxing. So basically, because of the relative difference in the speed of rotation, or actually the difference in like 12 degree difference is there between sun and moon speed. So because of this relative difference, what happens is that see if the sun and moon was exactly moving in the same speed, then always it will be Amavasya on the earth, because it will always be dark on the inside, right, if they're moving. But actually what is happening, because of the relative difference in the speed, gradually small portion of the moon is exposed actually. So and then when the sun and moon are in opposite this direction, actually it will be full. The full moon will be visible from the earth. So that is why, and then sun and moon are moving together, right? So this is actually the fundamental reason for this changes in the size of the moon, waning and waxing.
As it proceeds further over 7 to 8 days, we'll see half the moon bright and half the moon dark. As it proceeds further, after 15 days, we'll see full moon bright, which is towards our earth and which is brightened by the sun. As it proceeds further, the brightened portion every day reduces by 12th degree. After 8 more days, we see half moon, and after 15 days, we will see no moon. Thus, the phase of the moon continuously changes from day by day. Here in this is what we see from the front view. This is the new moon day. As it continues day by day, we see 1/12th portion of the moon. This is half moon, the full moon, another half moon, gradually reducing. Herein we see over 30 days how the phase of the moon are continuously changing. In the bottom picture, we can see throughout the night how we are able to see the moon portion.
Okay, so bottom portion again, now it's not visible. Once I start, you can see the bottom portion. No, it also shows how the gradually the moon size is increasing. So I hope actually this concept is clear. Actually, right? This is just because of the relative position of the moon and the sun. That how much portion of the sun is actually illuminated as observed on the earth. So that is what actually is perceived as the change in the size of the moon.
Is keep increasing every night.
Sorry.
Now, after around 14.7 days, it will be full moon day. That is all.
See now at this point, the sun and moon are the opposite sides. So now the sun rays will fall completely on this moon on the other side, and actually because of which I know we can see that full moon from the earth.
Around 14 days.
So one thing to note actually is that see, we are just looking from the top, but we have to understand that these are different elevations. So the earth is not actually coming between moon and sun. No, we should not think like that, because earth is the Bhumandala is much below. The sun is 1 lakh yojanas above, and moon is 2 lakh yojanas above, right? So that we have to keep it in mind. So the moon's like sun's light directly falls on the moon without any obstruction. Okay, I think is it enough? I think this part, I think we can proceed, right? Any questions in this?
Hari, Prabhu, this measurement from the distance of the moon and sun from Earth, whatever modern science has calculated, and that is matching. That I think some calculation you were showing yesterday or day before, which was matching. I think the diameter of the Bharatvarsha, I think. Likewise,
Yes.
the measurements of the sun and moon from Earth.
No. It doesn't match.
Okay.
See, according to modern science, the moon is very near to Earth, right? But according
Okay.
to this thing, actually, moon is much far. That is a controversy which is always gone. Prabhupada used to always say, that actually they, first of all, they are not gone to moon, is what Prabhupada is saying. Rahu, actually, they say that Rahu is actually very close to Earth, and then probably they would have landed on Rahu. That actually is a controversial topic. And also by material means, it's because moon is a heavenly planet. Even if actually, you by physical mechanism, you cannot go there. That's what actually Prabhupada is saying. So unless until you get the qualification by progressing, like by doing the necessary pious activities, we cannot actually go because those people, inhabitants in that planets, are much more elevated than us. So they can block or no, they can fool us. Yeah, so these are all controversial topics actually. So if you discuss that, then we'll be deviated from our main discussion.
Sure.
Prabhuji, this outer circle is talking about stars, Prabhuji. The outer circle is there, no?
They are actually different nakshatras.
Okay, yeah. So actually, if child take birth, wherever the moon is there, they will taken as a zodiac sign, and they calculate the star also, Prabhuji. From this chart, we can understand that.
I'm not an expert actually, but basically it is the planetary position at the moment of death. Birth. Whenever somebody is born, at that point actually we see what are the constellations. So
Yeah.
we see whichever planet is in whichever rashi that actually is captured in the birth chart, and based on that actually we can find what is the current dasha and the future dashas, and then different they say that different, what is it called actually. So I'm not actually an expert, but the planetary position at that point is like a snapshot is actually taken at the birth time, which actually, and then based on that we predict.
Prabhu, these rashis are really exist or just the position of sun and moon and earth?
It's really existing actually. The nakshatras are there, no Prabhu. Constellations are there. So Ashok Prabhu was asking whether the constellations, see, as I mentioned earlier, the entire, all the luminaries along with pole star, they all rotate actually. The constellation, the stars, the sun, the moon, the other planet like Saturn, Guru, all of them are actually moving together with the time wheel. Okay. So next, what we will see, sorry, that one. We saw that. Now another one more topic actually we have discussed is about the Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. So let us see that 30 to 39.
And Dakshinayana. This principle is explained based on one verse in 24th chapter of Bhagavatam, wherein translation goes like that: the sun globe, which is the source of heat and light, extends for 10,000 yojanas, the moon extends for 20,000 yojanas, and Rahu extends for 30,000 yojanas. The actual understanding of this shloka is, as sun moves in its position in daily in a circular fashion, clockwise position, but over here it also goes up and down. Just like sun goes up and down, moon also goes up and down. Similarly, Rahu and Ketu in their respective orbits also goes up and down.
Yeah, so this is actually what they're talking is, so basically sun we saw it is going around Earth, right? So it is not in a one plane. The what do you call it? The orbit actually is not on a same plane. So actually, as the year proceeds, there's a gradual movement of the sun from the, like, let's say if you take the level line is drawn, horizontal line, right? It actually it is told that we'll see it further. It actually ascends. It comes towards the Earth actually, not exactly like it goes upwards. So we see that we can imagine that the pole star is on the top, right? And then there is this pravaha, imaginary wind which is connecting all the planets. Like there is a pravaha which is going to sun, to the moon, the Rahu, etc. So actually, we how it is explained in Bhagavatam is, Dhruva Maharaj actually is in the pole star and he is controlling the planets. So just imagine that there are ropes which are tied to the sun, moon, and Rahu, and then as the rotation continues, I mean as they rotate throughout the year, gradually it is pulled. The rope is pulled upwards. So which means that the diameter of the orbit actually reduces. So and then also it moves little upwards and moves little higher and higher. Right, that is called Uttarayana. And then when it actually in the first 6 months it goes upwards, and the next 6 months actually it comes, it again releases back, it comes downwards. So because of this upward movement and downward movement, upward movement is called Uttarayana, and then the downward movement of the sun is called Dakshinayana. So because of this movement, the proximity from the earth actually varies. Right, so sometimes the earth is sun is farthest, and otherwise actually sun is relatively little closer. Because of which this is actually Uttarayana Dakshinayana is actually used to explain the seasons, and also the variation in the day and night actually experience, the duration of day and night. So in equatorial countries which are in the equator, we know as per the modern science also the day and night are almost equal. But if you go to the poles, like European countries, etc., the length of the day and night actually varies. So this is because of the sun. As the sun moves upwards, the more portion of the sunlight actually remains during that particular phase when it is nearer, and when it is far actually for the north pole, the duration of the day decreases because the sun is actually less portion is illuminated because of that. So this is what actually is explained here, and this also explains the eclipses. When actually these planets comes in the same line, different eclipses are found, which actually we can see after some time.
Particular motion will help us to understand what is Uttarayana and Dakshina. But their relative motions in the up and down are seen in a particular window. The distance covered by sun will be 10,000 yojanas. The same covered by moon is 20,000 yojanas. That of Rahu is 30,000 yojanas.
So this distance actually is the variation in the orbit actually, like up and down. So sun's motion up and down actually is 10,000 yojanas, the variation. Moon actually the variation is 20,000 and Rahu 30,000. That's what is explained.
But as and daily position they move in the horizontal way, in yearly they move in vertical. Then the orbits of sun and moon are shown in the picture below. So once in a while they may, with their vertical motion, all the three may be aligned in a same line. That particular alignment in the same line will help us to understand the formation of eclipse, and the movement of sun in the upward direction and downward direction helps us to understand the Uttarayana and Dakshinayana of the sun. These are explained at many places in the Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein it is said that when Priyavrata Maharaj was moving in 7 circles following the movement of sun, it is said that as he was going outward, he was gradually descending, and in the next 6 months, as he was coming inside, he was gradually ascending.
See, this actually we have discussed in yesterday's session, right? So this Bhumandala is not exactly a plane. It is like a stepped terrace kind of thing, right? A stepped terrace. So the middle portion, like Jambudweep is on the highest plane, and then each of the subsequent islands are a little lower, like that. So basically, this what they're saying here is that the sun's orbit also kind of, in accordance with this slope, actually there is a variation. That's what actually is mentioned.
That indicates the motion of the sun is also gradually ascending over 6 months, gradually descending over 6 months. It is explained in the Linga Purana that sun moves in 180 orbits, which between north and south. During Uttarayana, the Dhruva pulls the ropes of the sun's chariot. Thus, the pulled ropes become shorter. The chariot is dragged into inner tracks. Thus, day after day, the sun flows in 180 tracks. Thus, every day, the radius of the track is gradually reduces. Thus, the circumference of the thus the linear speed of the sun, which is supposed to travel in that circular orbit, also decreases. So it is shown here. At the ropes pulled by Dhruva, the sun is dragged into inner orbits. The sun moves closer to pole star.
Okay, is this picture clear? So this is what is actually happening.
Prabhuji, I have a doubt, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, they said that the sun will move, no, Prabhuji. But why don't we feel that the sun is moving far and it's coming once again near to us?
We are experiencing indirectly because of seasons. See, sometimes it is winter, it is cold, and sometimes it is summer. So this is because of the relative distance of the sun from the earth. So this is not happening in a daily basis. See, this variation is slow. So when the sun completes 360 rotations, right, then actually in the 180 rotations the movement upward happened, and in the rest of the 180 rotations the movement downward happened. So it is a very gradual thing which we will not experience suddenly. So throughout a year, actually slowly it happens up and down. So that is why immediately will not so. But the variation, the seasonal changes, as well as this change in the duration of day and night. We have the equinox concept and other things, right? So longer days and sometimes longer nights. Actually, this phenomena is all because of this relative movement.
Thanks, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So I hope actually everybody is able to understand this how actually it is working, right? See, the sun is rotating in a particular orbit. but actually there is also a up and down motion because of, like, imagine what is explained here, right? From the top, actually what is mentioned here is a Dhruva Lok. Okay, and then we saw that Pravaha is there. Pravaha is actually controlling all the planets. So there is a pull actually which is coming, because of which the so just like you think that we tie a ball to a rope and we rotate in below, right? And then when you gradually try to reduce the rope length of the rope, actually it comes upward a little bit, right? So something like that actually is what is mentioned. And then when you leave it again, actually the radius diameter will increase. So this is the concept of Uttarayana and Dakshinayana.
And then during Dakshinayana, this Dhruva loosen the ropes, thus the ropes become longer, thus causing the chariot move into outer tracks. Thus, day after day, over 180 days, the radius of the orbit increases, hence the circumference, and hence the speed of the sun increases day after day. Here and we see, as the rope is loosened, the sun keeps moving into outer orbits. From Vishnu Purana, it is said same thing. So, in 180 circular paths, the sun travels in two directions by his elevated and inclined rate of movement during Uttarayana. Because Dhruva pulls the ropes, the sun moves toward the inner orbits, which are elevated more than the previous ones. Thus, the track's radius decreases daily, and hence the chariot speed. Here and we see, it is going into elevated and inner orbit over time period, and
Yeah, I think we are actually almost towards the end of the time. I just wanted to talk about eclipse and then we can wind up today. So basically, so now you saw the vertical motion, right, of the orbit. So here actually it is explained like this, that on the left side you can see the solar eclipse. Okay, where actually the so moon, according to my understanding, the moon doesn't have any significant role. No, yeah, sorry. So in the first, actually, see, in the first case, what is happening is that the Rahu planet actually is coming between the moon and Earth, right? So basically, Rahu actually is blocking the sun. Okay, so that's what. So moon, I could not find a significant role of moon actually in this eclipse, because even if moon was not there, also still probably it would have blocked. No? So mainly Rahu is the significant. I mean, I have not gone deep into it, but actually you can just think that because Rahu comes, the moon, the sun is not visible in that particular portion. So Rahu planet is much bigger actually. It's we'll see that dimension. It's very big. So because of which actually whichever place comes below that area in the Earth, actually the sun is invisible for that solar eclipse. And the lunar eclipse, again, what is happening is that Rahu is blocking the moon, okay, from the Earth's view. So that way, from the Earth actually we can't see the moon for that particular period. So this is what actually is explained about the eclipses. Okay. So yeah, what is left is that we have to walk through some more things actually, which we can do tomorrow. We can see the different orbits, remaining stars, and also we see the positions of different lokas. We'll also see about hellish planets. So yeah, so that's all actually for today. If you have any questions, I can try to answer if possible.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, that
Yes.
pole star actually, that Dhruva is created for the Dhruva Maharaj, right, Prabhu? That Satyuga.
That I'm not sure, Prabhu. It probably it was already there, and then Dhruva was given that planet.
Okay. Because I thought actually that time it's created means previously how it was rotating and all. I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing is that that pole star is above that Meru mountain, right, Prabhu? Or it's somewhere in the middle of.
No, it's very, very far away. Bolshar actually marks the starting of the Swargaloka.
Okay.
Maybe you can go to
Yeah.
the diagram. Goloka chart.
Prabhuji, I'm winding up, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So basically you can see Swargaloka is mentioned right here. So
Yes,
the pole star is actually in this realm of Swargaloka, below the Maharloka.
Okay. And Meru Mountain is only available at only for Earth planet only, right?
Jambudip, in the middle of Jambudip, Meru Mountain is. So Earth is Bharatavarsha, but Jambudip actually is bigger. This thing, there are different varshas there. So only one varsha is Bharatavarsha in Jambudip. We have other Ilavardavarsha and different varshas, right? So in the middle of the Jambudip is the Meru Mountain. See the Meru Mountain actually, yeah. We have to see the dimensions again. But I know Meru Mountain is much lower actually compared to the Pole Star. Pole Star is very far away from the top of the Meru Mountain.
Okay, it's like around when that Meru Mountain would be like below the Loka, that first Loka.
That time we have to
It's
see
not
exact
that-
dimensions. Yeah.
Prabhu, I have a question with respect to the image that you showed, right? So
Which
there
image,
it is
Prabhu?
the one which you just showed.
Yeah, this
So,
is very
yeah.
approximate, Prabhu. This is not an accurate image. It's
Okay.
it's like a very far away view. Yeah, you can ask the question or let me see.
Yeah, my confusion is Satyaloka is given there, right? Which is much above the Swargaloka, right?
Yes.
After
Yeah.
Maharaloka, Jaganaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, right? But I think in one of the images which we I think went through yesterday or day before yesterday, where there was a mention that on top of the Meru mountain, Brahma resides.
That is his resort actually, Prabhu. That we discussed in the first session. It is only resort. Like we have Tipu has summer palace and winter palace, right? So just it's a temporary residence of Brahma actually. Whenever he comes, he stays there. Something like that. You don't understand. It is not a permanent abode of Brahma.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So tomorrow we'll see this particular question which you are asking. Now we can see it in more detail. So basically we can see that. See here you can see that constellation. Now the pole star is what is mentioned on the top, and all the planetary system. Okay, we see the relative position. So sorry. So there is a chart actually which tells all the entire cosmic. What are the? This is the big picture. What are the? So see, you can see that everything is mentioned actually. What is the relative position? So on the top actually is the Vaikuntha planets, then Satyaloka. What is the distance from Sun? It is given Janaloka, Maharloka, Dhruvaloka. So Dhruvaloka is coming after in the Swargaloka realm. So the Swargaloka heavenly planet is starting from Dhruvaloka onwards. Then all the different things are there. Tomorrow we'll see it in more detail. Okay. Yeah. So then actually Bhurloka, Bhuloka, all the planet and even the lower planetary system is described here.
Okay.
Yes, so we'll see that tomorrow, the relative positions of planets.
Sure, bro. Thanks for the clarification, bro.
So, anybody else? Any question? Any Prabhujis, Matajis?
Prabhu, I think I might have forgot what you tell. This Mount Meru is part of the root. This one, stem of the flower, or it is the stem.
It's not exactly the stem. See, in these pictures, actually, they don't talk about a stem. So, the stem maybe just passing through that. Actually, we can think like that through inside. The stem, when we talk about the Bhumandala or the planetary system, right? They are not talking about the stem. So, just like we have this Pravaha, maybe you can imagine something like that actually. They say that all the planetary system are located along the stem, but the stem is not pictured in this description, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay.
Yeah. So whether it's a real thing or no, like kind of a conceptual thing, I'm not sure. The stem.
Okay, bro.
Yeah. So tomorrow maybe Abraj Prabhu. So tomorrow, so maybe I'll cover the first part, and maybe in the towards the end, we can talk about hellish planets.
Okay, bro.
Okay, Prabhu. This is really very informational, Prabhu. Very informational. Very interesting, actually.
Yeah. Prabhu. See, one thing I want to just say to everybody, so Prabhu, so in this session, I'll not be able to go very deep actually, and then I have also not myself gone very deep. So each of these areas, there is a lot of depth. So what I will do is that I'll share the videos which are relevant, and
Sure.
no, you will have to go through them in more detail. If you are interested in a particular area, or if you did not understand a particular concept in more detail, no, it is explained in more detail. So now we are actually just trying to get a kind of overview. What are the different planetary system, and no, a conceptual concept, actually we can understand basically how everything is happening, like day night and all this phenomena. But actually, if you want to know exactly, how many degrees, for example, how the stars move, how constellation move, what is the relative motion, then I think we'll have to go a little deeper into each of this particular area, which actually I'm
Right.
also not a great expert there.
Got
Okay, but
it.
I have a conceptual idea, so that deep dive is required for that. But the principle, I think we are able to understand in principle how different phenomena are experiencing, and according to Vedic cosmology, how it can be explained. So that much I think we are trying to understand here.
Yes, yes.
Okay, any other questions are there? Was Bhagavad Prabhu, any questions?
I have a silly question, but maybe I don't want to disturb. I'll ping you tomorrow morning.
Okay, I don't have a problem, but yeah, we can see. So many things, Prabhu, I discussed in the beginning, na. So many things are actually beyond logic. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. So, I know
even
this is just I've been doing some sky gazing in the lockdown period. So I just want to ask you something. That's maybe it might look silly. I'll ping you separately.
okay.
So
Yeah.
beyond our logic, right? Not the actually it is in logic, but because we are not capable, we are not understand.
Yes. Yeah, beyond logic means our logic. See, we have limited logic. Basically, our logic means logic is based on our experience, past experience, right? So we have limited experiences, just like the frog story, the frog in the well. So his logic, the frog's logic will be, like for example, if there's an ocean, it will only compare the ocean size with respect to the well size. So similarly, based on our all the experience which we have until now, we try to understand these things. But I know right now in the beginning only we have discussed, right? So there are multiple realms and dimensions which actually we don't have any idea how they exist. So we never have any experience, so which it's not possible to understand even if we do research. That's what is mentioned in the shloka we discussed in the beginning, right? Even if we spend one day of Brahma, right, entire day of Brahma also, if we keep on researching on this topic, we'll never be able to understand, unless the only way to understand is that Lord has to show us. Actually, he has to show, like just like Lord actually reveals himself, or he gives us the knowledge, like to Brahma he gave. So similarly, unless until Lord gives us the special power, we will not be able to see with our current limited senses, five senses which we have in the human body. Some of these things actually we cannot understand how it actually is happening. That is a limitation. So we are just try to whatever is given in Bhagavatam, we try to understand with our capacity. That's all. So this understanding will never be fully full. So it doesn't matter. It's not that like you or me. Even if you are a PhD or you are a great scientist, like Einstein was a very great scientist, right? So whoever it is, actually they will not be able to understand, go beyond a particular limit, because that is by design.
Okay, bro.
Okay. Any other questions, Prabhuji, Mataji? Otherwise, we'll close that session. Okay. I hope there are no questions.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for